Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Kiran. Yes, no image is coming.
Mr. Kiran Vyas,
Yes.
we haven't disabled any videos as such, but I'll just check.
All right.
Thank you.
I can see the meeting room. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe if you can switch your video camera is on, hopefully, right?
I tried to put it on, but it's always not getting to it.
Okay. We'll look into it now. Thanks.
Yeah.
Matthew, video disable.
Hello. The participant not disabled on video.
Actually, the video is being automatically stopped by the host so that nobody else can, activate it. That's why even I'm not able to switch on my camera.
Okay.
Hello.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen who have joined us from France, and good afternoon to all my friends and colleagues who are on board from India. Spices and Embassy of India, France would like to welcome all of you to this webinar on market opportunities of Indian spices in France and Biosalamate. At the outset, we are delighted to extend our sincere gratitude to the Embassy of India, Paris, for taking efforts for organizing this Biosalamate and for ensuring the participation of eminent panelists as well as leading buyers of spices from France. As you are aware, Spices Board, we are the flagship organization for the development and worldwide promotion of Indian spices, and we serve as an international link between the exporters and importers abroad. The board, we are happy to announce that we have completed 35 glorious years and is currently celebrating the Coral Jubilee. This Bioseller meet is part of the Coral Jubilee celebrations of Spices Board, which is running into a fortnight starting 26 February 2022. Talking about this program, India and France, we have traditionally close and friendly relations and strategic collaborations across various sectors. In the export front of spices, on an average, India exports close to 4,500 metric tons of spices to France annually, which is valued at around $50 million. Now, with a view to further promote the export of Indian spices to France, the board and the Embassy of India, Paris, has joined hands to organize this online Bioseller meet. This program, we envisage to provide a common platform for buyers and sellers of the spice sector to build successful business linkages. We are quite delighted to note that around 40 importers from France and over 200 spice exporters from various parts of India are attending this event. The program would be of 3 sessions: the inaugural session, the technical session, and the question and answer session, which would basically be the buyer-seller interaction. On this event, we have with us Dr. Prafulla Chandra Sharma, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of India, Paris; Mr. D. Satyan IFS, Secretary, Spices Board; Mr. B. N. Jha, Director, Marketing, Spices Board; Mr. Hubert Boclet, General Secretary, French Spice Federation; Dr. Smita Sirohi, Advisor, Agri and Marine Products, Indian Mission Brussels; Mr. Kiran Vyas, Founder Director, Tapovan Centers; Ms. Audrey Ashworth, Director, Cial Footwear, Paris; Mr. Julian Bonvalet, Brand Director, FI and HI, Europe; and Ms. Tatiana Rosema, Head of Business Development, FI and HI, Europe; Mr. Ferrol Di Boni, Director of Purchasing, La Grande Épicerie, French Departmental Stores. Now, may I invite the Deputy Chief of Mission, Dr. Prafulla Chandra Sharma, for the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, Nitin, and thank you very much for everybody for coming together to this Zoom conference on the market opportunities for immunity boosting properties of spices, particularly Indian spices, because that is something which we would like to promote, of course. And I also would like to extend, as Nitin mentioned, thanks to our French colleagues and partners here, and also our Embassy of India in Brussels, where I had the opportunity to work 10 years ago, and particularly to Secretary Spice Board, who has taken time from his busy schedule to join us. India has been a land of spices. That's what brought the early explorers from the West to India. And this is something which we are now trying to reinvent and see what opportunities that we have for the Indian spices, particularly the medicinal value, which we can actually promote across the world. But after the COVID pandemic, which has increased the liking of people to the ways that naturally boost our immunity. And that is something which we would like to promote along with the spice export. And I'm really very happy to see that Dr. Kiran Vyas from Tapovan Center in Marseille Normandy is here with us. He would like to definitely would like to listen to him. And thank you very much, sir, for being here. And now I request Secretary Spices to speak on his keynote address. Thank you.
A warm good morning to all our friends who have joined us from France, and good afternoon to my friends who have joined us from India today on the occasion of this online international buyer-seller meet with focus on France. At this outset, I would like to first of all thank the Indian Embassy in Paris, France, for associating with the board for organizing this international BSM. As Mr. Nitin has already informed you all, we are happy that we are able to organize this international BSM during the fortnight-long celebrations to mark the 35th anniversary of the Spices Board. Spices Board it came into being in 1987 for the promotion of Indian spices in international markets. And on 26th of Feb, we have completed 35 glorious years. So on this occasion, from Spices Board side, I also would like to extend a warm welcome to all the participants. India, as you all know, has been the land of spices, and often it's called as the spice bowl of the world. In fact, it was for the search of valuable spices by seafarers that Vasco da Gama landed on Indian shores in 1498, connecting India to the larger world. In India, in spices, India holds the premier position in production, consumption, as well as export of spices. Spices have become part and parcel of our day-to-day life nowadays. Not only nowadays, it is so from time immemorial. Spices are used not only as a condiment, which adds flavor to the food, but over the years, it has gained multifarious applications. The natural extracts and bioingredients from spices have become key components of use in the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, and cosmetic industries as well, besides the global food industry. They are widely used as natural antioxidants and coloring agents as well. Each spice is unique in its flavor, aroma, and therapeutic properties. Intake of these spices in the right blend and proportion has been proven to help in boosting immunity, which is important for our present-day lifestyle. Traditional Indian wisdom has rightly identified and made use of these magical spices in our medicinal systems, which includes Ayurveda, Siddha, etc. There are so many examples. I can give a huge list wherein we have successfully encapsulated our traditional wisdom into various useful products. Even the modern clinical research has already quantified and qualified many of the therapeutic and dietary properties of spices. And since one of the focus areas of today's IBSM is Ayurveda and immune boosting properties, I'm mentioning this. I'd like to mention some of the beneficial properties of spices in this regard. Ayurveda tells us that Trikadu, a blend of dried ginger, pepper, and long pepper, is used can be used as a carminative for improving gastric functions. Cardamom can be used for treatment of respiratory and gastrointestinal disorders. Turmeric can be used for its antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic, and antiseptic properties. Capsaicin from chilies has anti-inflammatory properties. Pepper has similar uses, like it can be used as a digestive stimulant. Piperine from pepper can be used as a bioavailability enhancer. Cumin and mint have medicinal properties which can be exploited to treat digestive disorders, etc., etc. And many of these compositions are now available from India in various modern forms. In today's DSM, we are highlighting India's strengths in spices sector as a premier supplier of quality spices and spice products to the world. And we are also trying to underline the strength with reference to the supply of immune boosting and health enhancing products, which basically use spices as the main ingredients. As you all know, Spices Board is the flagship organization in India, which works for the export promotion of Indian spices. I take this opportunity to share with you the historic achievement the sector has achieved just last year when it comes to spices export. Indian spices exports have crossed a historic high of $4 billion during the year 2021. And European Union has been one of the leading spice export destination for India. In the European Union, the major spice importing countries are UK, Germany, Netherlands, France, and Spain. During 2021, the spice trade between India and European Union was to the tune of nearly 98,000 metric tons, worth $428 million, which accounted for about 6% of our total spices exports from India. And of which the spice trade between India and France alone accounted for about $44 million. When we see the range of products that India is exporting to France, spice oils, oleoresins, mint oils, turmeric, pepper, chili, fenugreek, curry powder, ginger, cumin, cardamom, coriander are some of the top listed items. Of late, Indian exporters have had certain concerns with regard to the export of spices to European Union, such as the implementation of the recent ETO-related restrictions, the details of which would be presented in a short while from now in this meeting itself by Dr. Smita Shirohi. The board, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and the Indian Mission at Brussels, we are working together with the authorities in various European Union countries to address these concerns. And we are getting support from the Indian missions from various member countries of the European Union, including France, for which I would like to convey the gratitude of the board. And I also take this opportunity to inform the participants that recently, to promote or to facilitate export of Indian spices, Spices Board has launched a unique platform We call it SpiceXchangeIndia, which is available for the use by Indian exporters. This makes the job easier for the Indian exporters to find prospective importers from any country of their choice. And many of the exporters have started using this portal. I would like to inform all the participants about the availability of services on this portal, SpiceXchangeIndia. And I'm happy to note that about 200 Indian exporters and about 50 spice traders from France have registered to attend this event. And right now, as per our records, there are 60 registered exporters who are exporting Indian spices to France. Considering the scope, this number can go up. And considering the diversity in spice cultivation in India, the richness in the range of spice products that we have, and the enhanced quality and safety orientation in the sector in India, I believe India holds great prospects to enhance spices exports further to the world and remain as the top trusted supplier of quality spices to the whole world. Towards our objective of increasing spices exports to various countries, this particular BSM holds great significance, and I hope and wish that this BSM will provide opportunities to the participants to establish direct business linkages and to further their business, leading to the use and export of enhanced use and export of spices. So I take this opportunity to once again thank the Indian Embassy at Paris for its association with the board in organizing this program. And before ending, it would be I would be happy to mention that and thank all the following dignitaries for joining us in today's event. First of all, the Deputy Chief of Mission, Dr. Praful Chandra Sharma, Mr. Hubert, our friends from the from France side, Mr. Hubert, Ms. Audrey, Mr. Julian, Ms. Tatiana, Mr. Farrell D. Boni, and Ms. Smita Sirohi, who has joined us from Brussels. And also, I would like to mention and appreciate the presence of all the members of Spices fraternity who are with us, both from India and from France. I wish you all a very fruitful meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Mr. B.N. Jha, Director Marketing Spice Board, to make the presentation on Indian spices, diversity, uniqueness, and market opportunities.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Dr. Praful Chandra Sharma ji, Secretary D. Satyan Sahab, Mr. Hubert Bouquet, General Secretary SNPE, French Spice Federation, Ms. Smita Sirohi, Advisor, Agri and Marine Products, Embassy of India, Brussels, Mr. Kiran Vyas, Founder, Director, Tapovan Centers, Mr. Audrey Ashworth, Director, Sial, Food Fair Parts, Mr. Julian Bonnevellet, Brand Director, Food Ingredients, High and High Ingredients, High Europe, and Ms. Tatiana Rosema, Head of Business Development, High and High Europe, and Mr. Farrell D. Boni, Director of Purchasing, La Grande Épicerie, French Department Store, and our exporters, importers, Spices Board officials, and friends. Great warm welcome and greetings of the day. I will be taking you through my small presentation, which would cover mostly on diversity, uniqueness, marketing opportunities, spices board activities related to the spices exported from India. Can we start the presentation? Present.
Yeah.
Can you start the presentation?
Yes, in a minute.
As you know, most of the diverse nature and the uniqueness about the Indian spices, our Secretary Sahab has almost covered it up. And I will take you through the spices exports to France prospects and its potential. Next. Spices Board was constituted by an act of Parliament. The Spices Board Act 1986. And it promotes and regulates exports of 52 scheduled spices in any form, including curry powder,
Jasar,
spice oils, and origins, and other mixes. And
Jasar,
we all know that around 109 spices are as per ISO
sir, sorry to interrupt.
standards. In India, mostly we produce almost 75
Mr. Jar,
spices
Mr. Jar?
in different parts of India. Out of these 52 scheduled spices, mandate for production.
It's sorry for the interruption. It seems we have a technical snag. We'll get it sorted out in a minute.
Okay, I will continue. Okay, it
Sorry,
appears
the line got disconnected. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
We have an issue with your voice. The voice is not very
Okay.
clear.
It's not audible? Is it audible now?
Sister, you are audible now, but whatever the previous conversation, we skip all these things because of that trouble. So can you please go ahead?
Hello. Okay. So I will continue from this presentation onwards. And out of the 52 scheduled spices, mandate for production, research, and domestic marketing and export of promotion of cardamom, small and large, is vested with the Spices Board. We have a mandate for research, production, and domestic marketing of spices other than cardamom is vested with the Union Ministry of Agriculture or other state agriculture and horticulture departments, as well as other states' agriculture universities. We perform quality evaluation and control of spices for exports. And the Spices Board is the designated competent authority for promoting and regulating the spices export from India by major importing countries, including European Unions. And the Spices Board has offices
Sir, we lost your voice.
Mr. Jar?
across various parts of India, where there is a major production and processing of export hubs of spices.
Mr. Jar?
India, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. Am I
Mr. Jar, please. We are unable to
Am
listen
I
to you.
audible,
You
please?
may stop and we will continue the presentation from here.
Am I audible?
Jasar?
Voice clarity has gone,
Hello?
sir.
Yeah. Sir, Jasar,
Am I audible?
we have some audio issues, Jasar.
Okay, sir.
We will continue the presentation from boardroom for better clarity. Yeah. So basically, we were presenting the holistic picture about the scenario of Indian spices. India is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of spices. Our production for the last financial year was around 10.5 million metric tons. And in the Indian spice industry has a strong exporter base of over 6,600 plus registered exporters. And we have in our export kitty, the share of value-added products ranges at around 50%. Further, the focusing on the intrinsic qualities and properties of various Indian spices, we have more than 20 geographical indication registered spice varieties, which are renowned globally for their various properties. And in addition to having a robust export demand for Indian spices, there is a very strong domestic demand as well, which caters to around 85% of the spices produced in our country is consumed domestically. In short, we are proud to be the largest producer, consumer, as well as exporter of spices and value-added spice products in the globe. Yeah. An overview about India's spice export. Last year, we scaled record highs in terms of spice exports. We would like to thank all the buyers of Indian spices, the buyers from France also, in working with the Indian spice sector to achieve this feat of exporting $4.17 billion worth spices and spice products during financial year 2021. And on quantity terms, it was around 1.75 million metric tons. And it's noteworthy that despite the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the spice exports have recorded a steady rise, particularly due to the, or maybe facilitated in part due to the steady demand for immunoboosting properties of spices, which was detailed by Satyan sir in his address, as well as the Professor Chandra sir in his opening remarks. And the range of Indian spices is that India last year exported 225 unique spices and spice products directly to over 180 destinations. The spice trade with France as well as the European Union is a significant buyer of Indian spices, and the board and the Indian spice industry is actively engaging with European Union in addressing or in facilitating increased trade of spices from India. The share of the European Union commands a share of around 6%, both in volume and value of India's total spice exports. And the major spice products which India exports to the region are mint and mint products, spice oils and oleoresins, turmeric, chilies, pepper, fenugreek, curry powders and masalas, ginger, cardamom, etc. And the leading exporters to France, we have around 60 very active exporters who regularly ships spices and spice products to France. Yeah, a graphical representation of the French spice market, which I'm sure we would be gaining more insights during the interaction with the eminent speakers we have for today's webinar. In total import of spices was around 6,238 metric tons, valued at close to 62 million euros. And we see a lot of potential for further promotion or for increasing the share, expanding the share of India in France, in the French spice market, and which we are sure that this buyer-seller meet and subsequent interactions between the buyers and sellers, with the active support of Embassy of India Paris, the Indian Mission Brussels, and Spices Board, would help to facilitate and catalyze the process of increasing the spice trade between both the countries. Now, on the board's front, some of the initiatives which we do is: one, export promotion; two, steps to ensure quality compliance of spices exported to France and the European Union in line with the standards applicable in the EU, and we are aware about the ETO concerns recently, which would be handled in detail in the subsequent presentation by Dr. Smita Swarogi. And it's noteworthy in the context of today's webinar about the to highlight the tagline which we would like to propose for Indian spices, which is a pinch of spices for a bunch of benefits, which basically underlies not just the culinary application. The benefits are not just the culinary application or the conventional use, but there is an array of other benefits, including the medicinal applications, the uses in Ayurveda, the use of spices as an immunity booster or a health supplement, so on and so forth. And to align with the point of the quality consciousness and the thrust on food safety and quality compliance, Spices Board, the competent authority in India for quality regulation of spices, we have set up a network of 8 laboratories across India, which have state-of-the-art infrastructure for testing, including the most modern equipments. And we have a program of pre-shipment screening of select spices to select destinations in line with the requirements of the buyers as well as the regulatory bodies of those countries. And on basically what I would like to stress upon at this point is the despite the recent concerns in ETO, which we are working together with DG Sante as well as the regulatory authorities, we can assure you that the Indian spice industry is capable, as you know, to meet all the demands of the European Union, and for that matter, any importing country across the globe, and to sustain and continue the supply of unique spices and spice products from India. Yeah, that's it from the presentation. We deeply regret the technical snag which has occurred in between. Now, thank you, Jasa, for making efforts for the presentation. Now, moving on, may I like to invite Mr. Hubert Boclet, the General Secretary of French Spice Federation, for his address on market opportunities of Indian spices in France.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are allowed.
Yes, thank you for the Spices Board and the Indian Embassy in France to have organized this meeting. I would like to greet all participants today and contributors. Thank you for the opportunity to present the way French companies selling spices to the market are organized here. I am the General Secretary of SNPE, which is the National French Association for Spices. It's not a state-run association, but a private sector association. Our members' companies are local companies established in France, which import, crush, process, and mix all sorts of peppers, spices, herbs, and vanilla. And the customers of our member companies are retailers or other food businesses like the catering business and of course, secondary food processors. As a private sector association, we are a member of the European EU-wide association ESA, which is based in Brussels. And we share the same missions like ESA, which is perhaps much more known by the Spices Board organization. And our mission are first the legal definition of products. We are a partner of the French and EU administrations, the French and EU authorities on national and EU regulations. Perhaps not every one of you is aware of how we are organized. EU is not strictly a federation like India with its states, but we have common regulation at the EU level, and we also can have an additional national layer of regulation. So we share with the authorities our company's views on national and EU regulations, on codex standard groups, on international standards through AFNOR, which is a national member of ISO standardization body. Our association aims is to promote nutritional quality of spices to the food industry and more broadly to the food business community in France. We have a quarterly newsletter which is sent to people in the food businesses to let them know more about the qualities of spices, for instance. And we are strongly committed to food security, and we help companies to implement a very broad number of legislations. I will list a series of actions we do perform along the year. First, we contribute to the ESA database on food security, which means we gather with all our counterparts in all other member states of the EU, like Germany, Italy, Spain, and so on, a database of results of analysis on spices products. We have been working on best by and best before dates, which are regularly revised in the legislation. We are obliged by law to take action to reduce food waste at the national level. We have written a hygiene guide in processing through microbiological criteria for our members, because they are controlled on that, of course. We perform many actions to ensure the traceability along the food chain. And for instance, we have had specific actions on allergens presence monitoring in food. For only local production, which is of course very small in spices and herbs in France compared to the Indian very big spices production, we have systems of local recognition of controlled origin spices, which is called AOP. We contribute to revision of botanic authorizations. EU has a system of a regulation which is called novel food regulation, which is difficult to be implemented, and for what is considered as new food products in EU, we have to undergo these novel food regulation requirements. The contributor by the Spices Board just told us about health benefits or immune boosting properties. All claims related to health benefits and immune boosting properties are regulated under EU health claims regulation, and it is very limited in its use because it's very difficult to have the authorization to put on the label that something like a spice helps your to cure some disease and so on. And this is a very long process which is being revised also at the EU level at the moment. And the last three items I would like to mention are very important for us. The first one is monitoring and declaration of products and fight against fraud. The second one is monitoring residues and contaminants in food products, including heavy metals, process contaminants, illegal dyes, mycotoxins, and so on. And of course, official controls on imports and sampling procedures. And this last point has been revised with the latest regulation with new import controls performed by the customs at the ports of entry to the EU and to France. And these two latter points, contaminants and control on imports, have been on our top list of concerns since the beginning of the ethylene oxide crisis, as we call it, which began on sesame grains in September 2020 with sesame imports mostly from India, but not only from India. And this crisis has later spread on the on spices. But this problem is still not over. We still have some big problem with that. And we thought we lack precise and accurate information on the origin of contamination. The measures taken to avoid this contamination of ethylene oxide or dichloroethanol are very strict, especially in France. I can say it's much more strict in France, even compared to other EU member states, because France is a country where you had the biggest numbers of controls by authorities on the possible presence of ethylene oxide. Now numbers have decreased, but this remains pending very serious problems for EU and French spices company. And for the image of spices exporters from around the world. And since many presents were on products coming from India, there is a special attention given to Indian imports. I think we have progressed on the matter, but not yet enough. I thank all the exporters from India to be much more, to have paid a very big attention to this problem, which has prevented a lot of quantities to be exported to our countries. The main area of progress we expect now is on laboratories methods to detect these contaminants. And of course, the contribution by the Indian Spice Board on this is very much welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much for your invitation.
Thank you, Mr. Hubert, for the address covering giving the perspective of the industry, as well as the key insights for the exporters while shipping to France. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Smita Sirohi, Advisor, Agri and Marine Products, Embassy of India, Brussels, to deliver a talk on the concerns related to ethylene oxide and the steps taken to address the concerns. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Nitin. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are all aware of the stringent food safety standards of the EU, and we have seen that in all my previous speakers have talked about ethylene oxide contamination, the crisis. Although the standards which have been set by the EU are basically hazard-based rather than a risk-based approach, this has been a subject of intense debate at various bilateral and global levels. Yet, since India is a net exporter of food to the EU, we are committed to be a reliable supplier, and we have to adhere to the standards that have been mandated under the EU regulations. Coming specifically to the ethylene oxide, since everybody knows, maybe our exporters also know by now very well, that ethylene oxide is regulated in food by European Commission Regulation 396 by 2005. And ethylene oxide is actually defined as sum of ethylene oxide and also 2 chloroethanols, which is expressed in ethylene oxide. Since September 2020, as my previous speaker mentioned, there has been great controversy regarding ethylene oxide. The first contaminations were found in sesame seeds, and subsequently they were spread to other commodities, other food products. But this is not only limited to India. This has also been found in several other commodities from other countries. There are several, what I will do in my talk in 5-10 minutes, whatever I'm allotted today. First, I would just like briefly outline what are the steps which have been taken up by the Indian side, especially by the Spice Board, since we're talking in the context of spices today. And then I will go on to flag certain important issues that emerge from the field and other empirical evidence. Since we have the presence of the French industry here, this will be an opportunity to tell them that what are the problems which our exporters are facing. So when this thing came into the picture in September 2020, first thing was to put the testing methods in place, because most of the laboratories, even in EU also, they were not really testing for ETO. So our first step was that we harmonize the methods which are being used in the EU laboratories and also in the Indian laboratories. So there were lot of back and forth. There were meetings, there was proficiency testing which was done to set the house in order as far as testing is concerned. Then in December 2020 itself, the Spice Board, they issued an advisory to all the exporters of the Indian spice industry to make them aware that there will be risks due to presence of ethylene oxide in the export consignments. And the clear direction was given to all the exporters of spices and spice products to ensure the compliance with the EU norms on ETO and exercise due diligence. Subsequently, later, the board also issued detailed guidelines, step-by-step guidelines for preventing ETO in every stage of the value chain. They have taken extensive office network exercises. They have tried to reach out to their suppliers at various value chains to see that this does not happen. In February 2021, before this advisory was even issued, in fact, Spice Board has been very proactive, and they constituted a core working group involving the Spice Board, research institutions, exporters, and other stakeholders for doing a root cause analysis and so that this ETO issue can be effectively redressed. And I would just like to share with you some of the initial observations, which are very important. This initial analysis of 400 plus samples, which were there for the various spices. These samples were collected from the different nodes of the supply chain. And this indicated that in 73% of the samples, the the ETO contamination was below the EU MRLs. The overall average of the ETO samples, which were found non-compliant, that was also very close to the border. That was 0.5 mg. What does it mean? It means actually that most of the people see, if you are doing a fumigation, a deliberate fumigation, then the deliberate fumigation would mean a much higher level. But these levels were quite close, even for the non-compliant samples as per the EU MRLs. The contamination level was not high because basically our exporters were not fumigating their products. But in the entire value chains, because of cross-contamination, some things were getting picked up. So if you see that the overall average, even in the raw materials which were procured directly from the farm, for the non-compliant samples, the level was coming out to be 0.5 mg. So this kind of points towards that either could be their chances of natural occurrence of ETO, or there could be chances of cross-contamination in the supply chain, somewhere down the supply chain. And I would also like to point out that the studies which have been carried out in Europe, a Spanish study also shows that ECH, which is ethylene chlorohydrine, that can be produced naturally at the temperatures of 20 to 45 degrees centigrade, something which we have in our tropical country. There is another study by the Spanish authorities which indicates that plants can produce ethylene as part of the natural ripening process, and extra ethylene is produced if the plant becomes damaged, as it helps the healing process. There was a mention about the European Spice Association, which is based in Brussels. European Spice Association have also conducted internal risk assessments showing that there is a recognized risk of cross-contamination from ethylene oxide if the non-treated material is stored or shipped together with ETO-treated material. So even if, for instance, the shipping containers or the wooden pallets, which have been treated earlier, which have been exposed to ethylene oxide, if they are used, then this cross-contamination can take place. Although the board is taking all its steps, and also now after the recent regulation 2022/2020-46, which has come out, now each and every sample will be tested in India. The spice sample will be tested in India before sending the consignments to the EU countries. But the point which I'm trying to make is that it is becoming very, very difficult to actually, the level of detection in EU and the MRL levels are so low that it is becoming very difficult to have absolute level of due diligence at every stage. And sometimes what we are finding it in several other samples is, when we test in the Indian ports, the sample is fine. But when it comes to the EU port, there can be differences in the harmonization levels of the laboratories. And that is why also there are certain consignment which are getting rejected. And as you say, I would also like to point out another important thing, that it's, as I said, it's not only the Indian consignments, it is the consignments with origin from France also. Now you say that ethylene oxide is something which is banned in France. So a recent RECIF alert, the RECIF alert number is 2022.1376, which has found contamination and in satin powder, and the country of origin is France. Another consignment from France, hawthorn and turmeric infusion, a RACIF alert 2021.4494. Again, this has been contaminated with ethylene oxide. Another consignment from Germany for wheatgrass powder, contamination from ethylene oxide. So what I'm not trying to lay a blame game. We are all concerned about the food safety and security of all the consumers, whether they're European consumers or whether they're Indian consumers. The point which I'm trying to make is that although India is committed, our board is taking full measures, the exporters are also, nobody wants to lose, nobody wants to send a consignment and then get their borders rejections and then take back their consignments. Nobody wants that. We are all very much committed, but at the same time, I would also like to say that the industry from the European side should also have a rethinking. They should also reach out to their regulatory authorities. They should also try to reach out to the Commission also to see that whether the kind of standards which we are fixing, whether how realistic those standards are. We can go on a debate about this, but I do not want to take too much of the time. And in the present case, it's not only the exporters who are suffering, the importers are also suffering. The new regulation from the Indian side has been put in place from 7th of February. The Commission gave a very, very short transition time for the consignments which have been shipped before 6th of January. We are working with them, but we would request, I would take this opportunity from the side of, as an Indian, I would take this opportunity to ask my French counterparts to see that whether these exporters can be given little more transition time, the consignments which have already reached the port, if they can be cleared. If you can take this up at some level, it will be really nice. The ethylene oxide is a prime concern. We are taking care of our supply chains. There are difficulties. You can imagine the difficulties are on either side. We have a huge country, 6,600 plus exporters, as you can see, which are there on our side. To bring everybody on board, to check every stage, it takes some time. The house has been put on order. We are committed to give you the reliable products. And believe me that we will be giving you, your aroma and taste of India would always be there in the French platter. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the detailed address. Now, may I invite Mr. Kiran Vyas, founder and director of Tapovan Centers, for his address on medicinal properties of Indian spices.
Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon. First of all, my thanks to the Indian Embassy, Indian Ambassador, then Dr. Prafulji, and then Dipanshu, who first spoke to me about this meeting. In fact, I'm much impressed with all what India is doing and the improvement, because I came to Europe, to France in 75. And in those days, there were absolutely no Indian spices available over here. I introduced Ayurveda to Europe, firstly to France. And it is true that at present I'm running Tapovan Open University of Yoga and Ayurveda. And the medical values of the spices are tremendous. But at the same time, the French rules and regulations do not allow us at present to practice Ayurveda as a medical practice. Of course, as a well-being, as a sort of prevention and other things, it is working. I'm also trying to, because education is allowed. So even in the universities, the medical universities, the medical colleges, since last 10 years, slowly and steadily, they have started accepting us, and I myself and with my team, we are even teaching Ayurveda. Now, Ayurvedic point of view is very simple. That is to say, before we fall ill, we need to treat ourselves. That is a prevention. And of course, the spices, and especially the Indian spices and the Indian food in general, is colorful. Not only colorful, it is tasty, and then it adds certain things which we are not even very much aware. That is to say, acts on our brain cells, acts on our, what we would say, on our the emotional side. In fact, in India, generally we say that half of the medicines for a homely use, what we call it grandmother sort of medicine, half of the medicine should be in our kitchen and the other half should be in our garden. If we have this, there are great chances that we do not fall ill. Now, we have already spoken about many things about the benefits of which spice adds to what. But even then, I would really like to tell you that with this pandemic, and since last about 10 years, what I'm observing, that Indian spices, through another link, that is the yoga, because there are so many practitioners of yoga here in France and in Europe, and they are going for a sort of a sattvic food, and they have started using, for example, turmeric, or which is this yellow powder or yellow like ginger root. It has great values. Dr. David Schreber, one of the eminent doctors, scientists, he found that it had a great effects on cancer. And not only that, it purifies blood, it helps in many values, but medically, he did prove it, but at the present, it is not completely accepted. But the great number of people, they know this, that little bit of pepper and turmeric would help us even to boost our immunity regarding a disease which is a terrible disease, we would call it. Now, all Indian spices have a boosting effects like cinnamon, like cloves, like even pepper, and even cumin seeds, the fenugreek, and ajwan, or that helps us also. So all spices have great values as far as medical side is concerned and boosting is concerned of our health. Now, how it happens? Naturally, there is a Occidental or Western side which would try to verify what substances are there inside. That is the curcumin in this curcuma or turmeric, or they will try to find out the other active agents. Now, Ayurveda would look at it from another point of view, that how it is acting on what dosha, vat, pitta, kapha, how it is acting, and then how they could be helped us. Then we even can see from yogic point of view, it acts on some of the chakras or on some of the energy levels. Of course, this seems as if we are going out of science because we are so much influenced by the Western science only. But more and more people are certainly aware of all these energy things, and they are not only believing in this, but they are using these things. So therefore, I would say that first of all, and regarding, of course, the heavy metals and big problems about these things come up very, very often for using. And even myself as a buyer of spices, I have to go for what I call it organic spices. And very often the Indian spices, they do not have the label of it is an organic origin. And therefore it causes difficulties. And of course, there are countries, some African countries, then some Madagascar and other places from where we do get organic food, organic spices. So for me, really speaking, from the Ayurvedic point of view, all spices have great values. Colors, taste, because we have 6 tastes. Fenugreek, which is bitter in taste, but it is good for our liver. Then coriander, cumin, these are cooling effects. Now, this is also a different way of looking at the medical side. And more, I would say, even the Western doctors are taking interest in all such things, not only just solving the problems or not just hitting against an illness. So for me, in fact, Europe is very much open to these things, and Europe, and especially France, which has a great fame regarding food things, and most of the big chefs of France, they are starting using ginger, pepper, and turmeric, and then other things. For example, they would just use this cinnamon, which helps not only this, it will even reduce your cholesterol level. And of course, cloves, you know that it has been used for the teeth problems and other things. But according to Ayurveda, first of all, we need to build up our health, and it has 3 vectors, 3 things. Ahara, that is the food. Vihara means how we lead our life, daily life and whole life. And then Manovyapara, that is what is happening in our mind. And these spices do help us, right from calming our brain or helping us. Then as far as the food is concerned, it becomes tasty. Not only it becomes tasty, it has a medical value. Digestion wise, it goes good. And then also our immune system is improved. Well, today I will not go into all details because most of you know all these benefits of spices. But what I would like to say from this end of France, that it has a great opening, not only great opening, I used to get only what I would say 100 or 200 grams of spices each time I went to India in 75, whereas now I find all these spices and I'm so happy. And 20,000 or more of my students and other people, they use these things, so they are also extremely happy. Thank you for inviting me, and whatever help you need, I'm really happy to give you. Thank you very much to distinguished guests, the distinguished speakers, and distinguished research scholars, and of course, the Government of India. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kiran Vyas, for the enlightening address, highlighting the medicinal properties and applications of Indian spices. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Audrey Ashworth, Director, CR Footwear Paris, for the address on the trade fair experience and how Indian exporters can enter the French and European market. After Audrey, we will have two more speakers elaborating on the topic, Mr. Julian Bonvalet and Ms. Tatiana Rosema. So, Ms. Audrey, you may please.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be among you, and bonjour en français on behalf of Cial. I have made a small presentation, so I'll try to share it with you, and I hope it will work. Please let me know if it's not the case. Do you see the presentation?
You can see the presentation. Please carry on.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, I would like to just tell you that Cial belongs to Comexposium, which is one of the third largest global player. So we have a galaxy of Cials around the world, 7 well-established events, including one in New Delhi, and obviously Paris, which will take place from the 15th to the 19th of October this year. We are also having a new babies, so to say, 3 new trade shows, including one in Mumbai in August this year. So we are very well invested in India, and we very value your invitation, the invitation of the Indian Embassy to present Cial. We also have 4 specialized trade shows, but I will not go further on that matter. Comexposium has held about 100 shows already in 2021 under obviously very strict regulations and health concerns regarding the situation we unfortunately all faced. So that's something that we are very careful, and we will be continuously careful of. As far as Cial is concerned, Cial Paris is concerned, well, as I said, it's 5 days where the world meets in Paris. It gives privileged access to key players in the industry, and we have dedicated keynotes, exchange debates, sharing of issues, including all the ones that have been discussed this morning, and will be placed under the theme of On the Change. Spices are really important in the pleasure also that gives to food, and that's one of the aspects that we are covering also during this Cial 2022. Obviously, if you participate to a trade fair, what you're looking at is to generate business and accelerate growth. So on top of learning what the competitions or your peers are doing, you're obviously there to have a return on investment. To give you some more figures and a flavor of Cial Paris, we have over 7,200 exhibitors in 2018 that participated, over 120 countries, 250,000 square meters. So it's a rather large exhibition. And as one very important thing for you is to have the chance to have a pavilion with ITPO that is that has a large exhibition space, and will be able to assist you also during your Cial, and the experience will be eased, as well as obviously the Cial teams that are there to help you. In terms of buyers and visitors, we host, so it's a B2B event, and we are hosting and welcoming over 3,000 visitors, professionals, 1/3 basically of French buyers, 1/3 of European buyers, and 1/3 of great export from over 200 countries, with a large diversity of type of buyers coming to Cial. I made a small focus on India at Cial and on the spices sector. So in 2018, we had 168 Indian companies at Cial, which is a nice representation. 2,662 exactly square meters of exhibition space. And what's important for you as an exhibitor is to know that over 9,000 or 9,500 buyers were there to find your products. So it's really important that that's what we do put in action during SIAL through some events that you can see on prospective, on innovation, on startups, having insight, getting some learn from the industry with the SIAL talks, and obviously the cuisine that is giving you the opportunity also to taste food prepared during the show. What's new at SIAL 2022? Well, obviously you have a panel of different actions we've been undertaking, but I will just highlight the enhanced matchmaking with a top buyer program that we have emphasized this year, and the marketplace, which is a platform that we are launching. And I heard that the SpiceXchangeIndia portal is there for you too, so that's great to hear and great to learn. But you will also have this ability to post and sell your products through that marketplace at SIAL. In a nutshell, and that's what you're wondering, why attending SIAL? Well, it's a place where you get inspired. You get to learn from the industry, as I said. You get to learn and see what the other participants and exhibitors are doing. You get insights, and you may discover a new innovation, and it's something really important. It's in the DNA of SIAL, and it's actually inspiration is in the tagline of SIAL, inspire food business, and that's what we're doing. Food is the food community, and as you have seen, there's a large audience, and obviously doing business, and that's to promote your products and services, get that large exposure that your products are deserving, and get to share your knowledge and your know-how and how good the Indian products and Indian spices are. And that's something that you can do directly, because you have a direct access to buyers and get feedback from them. So initiate partnerships and forge new deals. I would like to share with you some key figures, because at the end of the day, we've conducted some surveys, and our exhibitors are telling us that attending SIAL helps them to generate more than 6 months revenue, additional revenue. SIAL Paris has been launched in 1964, so 58 years of existence. So it's a platform that has proved its value. We have a large coverage, and that's also a chance for you to get additional exposure. Over 2,000 international journalists are attending SIAL, and there are some massive feedbacks and articles in the press afterwards. And again, in average, our exhibitors are telling us that they have been able to conduct over 200 meetings at SIAL in average. So one tip that I haven't showed there, but is to prepare a show. And I suppose Julien Bonvalet, we will talk about food ingredients. Europe will be telling you the same thing. Prepare your event. Practice your sales pitch, get samples, because that's what buyers will want to exchange with you and discuss with you. In a nutshell, so attending your trade fair consolidates and strengthen your image and your brand awareness, to get exposure, increase your revenue, and that's really important, obviously, for a company. And it helps you take advantage of the existing community there and show your innovation, your knowledge, and communicate with that audience and that global food community. That's what I wanted to share with you. We have a team and you have their contacts there that is there to assist you also during the trade fair. I would like again to thank you very much, and I'm available, and as well as the team, for any questions that you may have. I wish to meet with you at Ciel in October. Thank you very much.
Presenting the opportunities for Indian spices, spice firms with regard to the trade fair here. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Julian Bonavelet and Ms. Tatiana Rosema, the team from Food Ingredients and Health Ingredients Europe, for the address on the trade fair experience. Over to FA and HI team. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to those of you who are connected from further east. Before I start, I would like to thank very much the Spices Board and the Indian Embassy for hosting us today, and of course, thanking all of the participants as well as the speakers that contributed today. So we have just a few minutes to present you the Food Ingredients Europe and Health Ingredients Europe, which this year will take place in Paris from the 6th to the 8th of December. The event this year is also supplemented by an online event, which takes place across 2 weeks, starting the week before the in-person event and then continuing throughout the week. I think many of you would have had the experience of online events this year, and they can be great for a number of reasons. One of them is, of course, that allows you to connect before the event with those that will be coming to the show, but also those that eventually may not be able for a variety of reasons to come. So it gives you additional benefits in terms of reach, as well as branding and overall exposure to your company, the products and solutions that you're offering. So before I start, I just want to quickly indicate, so Food Ingredients is a portfolio of events. We belong to the Informa Market division of Informa, which is a PLC from the UK, and Informa Market is the largest division of Informa. We took altogether, Informa Markets have over 450 events run around the world, and we have 305,000 colleagues in more than 30 countries around the world. So more specifically about the Food Ingredients portfolio, some of you might be familiar with some of those events. Altogether, we have 10 events that are dedicated to the food ingredients sector. It all started with the Food Ingredients Europe back in 1986. The event was launched in a small city of the Netherlands called Utrecht. And quite quickly after that, we adapted the event in other parts of the world. And I won't go through all of the different events that you can see on this slide, but some of you might be familiar with our Food Ingredients India event, co-located with the Health Ingredient India event. That event has been rotating between Mumbai, Delhi, but for the first time this year, the event will take place in Bangalore. And of course, this is due to the size and the scale of the Indian market, and basically trying to capture audience from different parts of the country. So more specifically about Food Ingredients Europe. So Food Ingredients Europe is the largest gathering of food ingredients buyers and suppliers. The event rotates annually between Paris and Frankfurt. And the benefit of that rotation is that we are therefore capturing audience from the 2 largest markets in Europe. When the event takes place in Paris, you will have a greater number of attendees coming from France, and in the other hand, Germany, then you will see a greater number of attendees from Germany. So that helps us diversify the audience that our exhibitors are able to meet. The exhibitors, very simple, let's say 90–95% of the exhibitors are ingredient manufacturers or distributors. We, of course, have a number of companies that are also servicing the food and beverage industry, through other solutions such as equipment, processes, consulting of all kind. But the vast majority of the exhibitors at the event are ingredient manufacturers or distributors. In terms of visitors, the large majority of visitors are food and beverage manufacturers, distributors, importers, and traders. Just a couple figures on the Food Ingredients Europe event. Our last edition in Paris in 2019 attracted over 24,000 attendees. It's really important here to note that actually we have the visitors to the event have a high purchasing power, where 71% of those visitors indicate that they are actually having active purchasing responsibilities within their business. In terms of the exhibitors, the 2019 edition attracted 1,700 exhibitors, and between visitors and exhibitors altogether, we had a representation of 173 countries. So the event is highly international. And something also interesting to note here is that our visitors are very senior. 34% of them are the C-suite executive job title. Just continuing on the visitors, as you can see on this chart, these are the top 15 ingredients of interest that our visitors are indicating when they register for the event. And you can see that flavors and spices feature very well in that list of ingredients. Also wanted to give you a little bit more detail about our geographical reach. Basically, as you've seen, our portfolio is global. So we have colleagues and offices in all the different countries where we run events, but that also allows us basically to target new and renewed audiences in all of those regions. So FI Europe is a very international event. These are the statistics from the 2019 edition in Paris. So you can see that we are close to 20% of visitors coming from France. And then you see some of the key participating countries in terms of visitors: Netherlands, Germany, UK, and Italy. The rest of Europe accounts for 34%. So altogether, we have about 80% of our visitors coming from Europe and 20% coming from the rest of the world, which of course includes quite a large number of visitors from India. As a matter of fact, India is, or the companies from India represent the 5th largest group of exhibitors at the event. Just a little bit more focus on the spices manufacturers and buyers at FI Europe. So this is, again, from the 2019 edition, which is took place in Paris. The event in 21 took place in Frankfurt. So we thought it'd be more relevant to present to you today the results of the 2019 event. And altogether in 2019, we had over 100 exhibitors offering spices as one of the products that they displayed at the show. And then when we look at the attendees, 24% of them indicated flavors and spices as one of the products that they were specifically coming to source at FI Europe. I also wanted to highlight some of the key categories. As much as Food Ingredients Europe covers the full spectrum of the food and beverage industry, I thought it'd be interesting for you to see today some of the key categories that might be most relevant for spices and flavors. And you can see here that bakery, dairy, natural products are very big categories at the event. Then comes functional beverages, confectionery, as well as meat and meat products. And finally, sauces and seasonings, as well as convenient foods and snack, are very well represented in terms of the visitors. Also wanted to highlight here a couple of the exhibitors that have been exhibiting spices at our event and coming from India, which I'm sure a lot of you will be very familiar with those company names. The likes of Kanko, Giant's, Untitled, Chapter, Vidya Herbs have been very loyal exhibitors to the and very long-term exhibitors to FI Europe. And of course, there are many more companies, as I mentioned, that are exhibiting at FI Europe that are coming from India. This is all I wanted to this is really a snapshot of the events. This is all I wanted to present you today in a few minutes that were allocated to us. Of course, I'm sure some of you might have questions or more information that you'd like to receive about Food Ingredients Europe, and we'd be more than happy to do that. There is a Q&A session later, which my colleague Tatiana Rosema, Head of Business Development, and myself will be staying for. Of course, we might not have all of the time there, but if you would like to have more information, we'll share our contact details in the chat of this webinar, and we'll be delighted to speak with you at any time. But for now, huge thank you to all of you for listening to me, and we hope to see you soon in Paris. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Julian. Yeah, and we would, I'm sure that you would be posting your contact details in the chat box for the Indian exporters to take note and further get things clarified from you, if any. Now,
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I invite the next speaker, I have a humble announcement, two announcements to make. One is some of the participants are told that they have been facing issues with regard to switching on the video, and this has been sorted out. If in case you had earlier faced any issue to switch on the video, you may kindly try it now. And I would like to request the the participants to kindly switch on the video so that we can take a screenshot also for our records in the process. And next, we would like to express our apologies for the time lag which has caused due to various factors in this. And I hope we might not take much more of time. We would be able to wind things up maybe in another 10 to 15 minutes. And I am sure that all of you would remain on board with us during the course of this meeting. Now, may I invite Mr. Ferrol D. Boni, the Director of Purchasing, La Grande Épicerie, the French department store specialized in food products, for the address on spice import experience and what sells in France. Mr. Ferrol?
Yes, it's okay. I had some problem with the sound. Good morning, everybody. Namaste. I'm the head of purchasing for La Grande Épicerie de Paris. La Grande Épicerie de Paris is a part of LVMH group. So just a few words on LVMH in India before talking about spices in La Grande Épicerie de Paris. Do you see me or not? Yes, before. It's better. Sorry. So all the LVMH activities are present in India. We have, among other, a vineyard in Maharashtra since 2013. And you know that India is really a great source for us, for our houses, and a great source of inspiration for our great fashion creators too. Now, La Grande Épicerie de Paris, what is it? It is a famous department store, food department store in Paris. We have two stores, one in the center of Paris in the 7th arrondissement and near Le Bon Marché, if you know, and another at the west of Paris in the 16th arrondissement. So it's a real food institution in Paris. We will have our 100th birthday next year, and all had begun, you know, with spices and tea 100 years ago. So it was the beginning of La Grande Épicerie de Paris. And it shows that spices is really relevant for us. I will try to share with you a small presentation. Is it okay? Is it okay for you?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So you have some photo of La Grande Épicerie of the west of Paris. We have 30 hundreds of products in our stores, and a part of these products are spices. So we have spices from all over the world, and I will give you some example. We are not purchasing some products directly from India. We purchase from importers from India. We not directly, but with retailers and importers from India. But we have spices from all over the world. So, for example, we have 550 SKUs of spices in self-service with 40 brands. The best brands in our store is Eric Bure, Albert Menes, Terre Exotique, Max Domain. I don't know if you know them, but these brands are purchasing some spices in India. And it represents 1.5% of our turnover of the grocery part of La Grande Épicerie. 1% is the turnover of spices in La Grande Épicerie Paris. So it's a great family of products. And we have a part of our turnover which is doing in what we named assisted sales. You have a table and with many spices, and you have somebody who serves you in spices. And we have 50 SKUs and only 2 suppliers on this part. I will give you some example of spices and world salts. So we have some salts from all over the world, from Himalaya, from it's not Persia, it's Afghanistan, Iran, Iranian salt. We have some French salt, for example, what we call fleur de sel from the sea of France. And now spices. So we have a range of peppers and berries from Africa, from Asia, from France too. So in total, you have the spices from India. So we have some white pepper from Malabar, white pepper for.
Sorry, we lost your audio in between.
Excuse me?
Yeah, no, I was telling that we couldn't hear you in between. Now you are audible. I think we missed the last 5-10 seconds of what you said.
Yeah. Okay. So dark pepper from Tellicherry from India. After we have organic spices. So the organic pepper from Tellicherry. So one organic and one non-organic. We have ginger from India. We have organic ginger from India. We have Madras curry too from India. We have curcuma from India, organic curcuma. This is our brand, La Grande Épicerie, our private label. And other spices from India, we have also some mix curry, mix masale, mix tandoori. So part of the mix can be from India or other countries. We have curcuma and ginger. We have all the peppers and all the berries, chilies, and other things like that. And after we have also French and European spices. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Perriol, for the presentation. It is indeed, we are indeed delighted to see the wide range of spices and spice products which which La Grande Épicerie offers to the customers, including spices from India. Now, before we move on to the question and answer session or the interaction session, I would like to invite Dr. Prafulla Chandra Sharma, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of India, for his remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nitin. Before the question and answer session, I just wanted to highlight a couple of points which I thought that emerged throughout these discussions. Webinars are, of course, something which we are doing with during this period of COVID. There were limited travel time or opportunity. But now, since the COVID situation has improved drastically and to the positive side of it, so we should have more physical presence in food fairs, trade fairs related to promoting the ingredients, whether it is medicinal properties, anything related to spice and so on and so forth. So we should make use of the expositions like SIAL, and as Madam Sirohi was saying from Embassy of India, Brussels, adherence to rules and regulations are particularly important because they are the ones which will allow you the entry to the exports that we do from India. And it is also important that we follow a very scientific production method in India, though it is not always possible, depending on the size of holdings, it may not be possible all the time. But we should focus also on the production process, but packaging, presentation, and product attractiveness. It is very important that in a market like the European market, it also makes a lot of difference. Visibility is therefore something which we need to also take care. Advertising the medicinal properties of spices is something which we should also make, not only just the physical presence during the trade fairs, but also advertisements of what products that we can offer from India is something which is important. So Spice Board is doing extending full facilitation from its end, and from here, Embassy of India Paris and Embassy of India Brussels are always there. My colleague in the embassy, Mr. Dipanshu Khurana, is the contact point here in Paris. And like Madam Audrey Ashworth of SIAL said, they are also there to help us bring the Indian products to the European markets in the right way that it is required to be presented and promoted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the remarks. I'm sure that the Indian exporters have taken note of your suggestions, and from the Spice Board side, we would continue working with the exporters as well as the Embassy of India Paris in facilitating exports of spices and spice products from India. Now, to start off with the question and answer session, I would like to invite some of the leading spice exporters from India to France to come forward and introduce themselves very briefly, explain their product range and capacities and capabilities in supplying spices and spice products to Europe. May I start with Arjuna Naturals, the representative from Arjuna Naturals. All right. Moving on, may I invite the representative from Organic Spice Exporters, Berjua for Suminter, Mr. Raju Mittal and team. All right. Moving on, may I invite Mr. Sajid Sharatchandran or his team from AK Natural Flavors, AK Spices.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, Sajid is not here, so I will be representing him. Myself is A.B. Abraham. So I represent the company AK Spices Private Limited. Can you hear me? I think so you could hear me, right?
Please carry on.
Yeah, thank you. So speaking about the company, our company was started in the year 2014. So we are into the dry spices industry, both whole spices and powdered spices. So our facility is capable of producing 10,000 metric tons of dry spices, both sterilized, and the sterilization is steam sterilizer that we have. So the core competency of products that we offer is currently is turmeric, chili, and cumin. And we have all other varieties of spices right now. The countries that we export is mainly to European countries, especially, as you know, France, Germany, etc., and also to the US market, and also for focusing on to the Asian markets too. So that's a nutshell about the company. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, team from AK Naturals. Now, I would like to request the importers from France, if anyone of you would like to say something about the requirements of spices from India, or any aspects in connection with the trade in spices between India and France, you are always welcome. You can make use of the raise hand option in the box so that I can invite you one by one. If a request to the participants from France to kindly come forward if you would like to speak. Meanwhile, I have requests from some of the Indian exporters, Mr. Deepak Patare. Mr. Deepak, you can speak.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. It has been a fantastic session. I had already posed one question that the EU 2021-22-46 has been implemented from the month of January. Now, the spices which are coming over here in Europe are being tested, and before it is being tested, it has been certified, tested, and the health certificate is given by the Spices Board. Now, once again, these people are testing the spices over here. And if there is any issue as a non-compliance of the technical certification, especially of the ETO present in the spices, if it is more than 0.01 ppm, then what responsibility Spice Board takes, or what way the Spice Board will help the exporters?
Dr. Deepak, you very well know that this is not the platform for resolution of grievances. This is an event for export promotion. So if you have, certainly we will address your concerns. We will get back to you, but we will not waste the time of everyone here. The floor is open if you want to give your product range and other things for the purpose of export promotion.
No, we import. We are importers as well as we are the exporters.
Right.
We have the chain over here in Europe. We are the wholesalers for the spices. But sir, I am asking you not as the grievances. I am asking you as the information as to what way it can help the importer for the benefit of all the importers. Benefit of all the importers as well as exporters. So don't consider this as a grievance, only consider this as the information.
No, thanks for the clarification, Dr. Deepak. As you have, as Dr. Smita Sirohi was highlighting during her address, ETO issue is something which has popped up, which is a recent issue. And from India, currently, we have put in place a system to ensure that all the spices exported from India to the European Union are comply with the European Union limits, and which you also have highlighted in your query. Now, interlab variances. Now you are trying to address a specific part of this, which is even if it is tested and cleared, and if that further happens, if ETO further happens, or when it is being tested further at EU, if there is an ETO incidence. Now, to address that particular thing in normal case, the basic criteria for labs to test to undertake this mandatory testing is, in India we call it the NABL accreditation, and in Europe we call it the ISO 17025 equivalent. So all regulatory certifications, be it in India or be it in Europe, are being done by NABL accredited laboratories, which have proven systems to ensure compliance with the to cross check or to ensure compliance or to ensure that things are being done rightly. Now, having said that, still if there is a wide variance can happen if the material is subjected or gets cross-contaminated with ETO somewhere in transit. So to address that point, as Dr. Smita was said, we have appraised our exporters with a set of detailed guidelines to be taken in various stages of the supply chain to ensure that there is no cross-contamination or similar instances which could result in a spike in the ETO values. These are the steps which the board is taking to ensure such a thing doesn't crop up. Thank you.
May I interrupt? Thank you for your reply, but we are not taking any test done from the NABL accredited laboratory. It is only from the Spice Board, and the deliveries are made by
Dr. Deepak, sorry to interrupt. I think we are deviating from the main agenda of the program. Certainly, we will come back to you and hear you and solve your problem, but not during this program. Sorry for that. We will move out to the next person.
Yeah. May I invite Heruka Enterprises? Heruka Enterprises, you may please unmute and speak. And currently, I could see raised hands from a couple more of exporters, Kuwam Basukesar and Salim Akhtar Mohammed. And owing to time constraints, we would limit the interaction opportunity with these exporters. And for the information of all the participants, both from India as well as from France, we have come up with an event brochure capturing the details of all the Indian spice exporters who have participated in this event, as well as the details of the leading French importers of spices and the participants from France in this event. So from our side, from Spice Board side, we would be circulating to this brochure to all the participants through the WhatsApp group as well as through email. And we would be sharing with the embassy with the request to further share the brochure, event brochure with all the participants from France. So this brochure can be used as to further interact, further build upon the opportunity gained through this webinar and further discuss business. Now, Heruka Enterprises.
Hello.
The floor is yours.
Nitin sir, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible, but the voice is feeble.
Okay, now?
Yes, better. Please carry on.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Heruka Enterprises, and I am the proprietor of my firm. We are in the spices since last 20 years, and we are very thankful for Spices Board for arranging this very potential webinar. We are actually in 3 types of turmeric. One is Rajapuri, another one is Salem, and another one is a black turmeric, which is very rare one and having a medicinal value. So I will send all the details to the Spices Board, and we are looking for this new country and new entry towards the Europe. We are right now supplying to Japan and the UAE area and Canada also.
Yeah.
So we have our brochures and everything. So I'll give all the details on our chat also. So anybody want to import, please communicate with us. Thank you so much.
Point is noted. Thank you. Moving on. Prema, Miss Prema.
Yes, good evening. Good evening all. I am Prema from Aha Agencies. We are dealing and we are focusing on Vyagi purchase. Anyone imports the Vyagi items for spices, connect me. I will already we will did perishable products and some machineries also we are dealing. Agri commodities we are dealing already in Singapore and Seychelles. France we are dealing only snacks items we did already going on. Then we will focus on Vyagi stemless. So will you, anyone need to Vyagi stemless, contact me, connect me for any certificates, whatever he will need. And thank you for this opportunity and arranging. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. And before I move on to the next speaker, I would like to request for you can make use of, as we do not have speaking slot for all the participants, which we have more than 200. I request you to make use of the chat box, which is being noticed all the participants to flag your product range as well as other capacities. And while utilizing the speaking slot, I would like to suggest that you can try flagging more specific points so that it would be beneficial for everyone or who are participating here. Next, Kuvam Enterprises, the company Kuvam.
Good evening from India, everyone. My name is Kuvam. I'm the director of Vexilupram Private Limited. We are placed in the town of Ranchi in Jharkhand, and our company focuses on processing of spices rather than just trading them. We are dehydrating spices through the use of hot air dryers, and as you must have all heard that the topic of ETO contamination in spices has been highlighted quite a few times, and it is a point of concern. So we dehydrate spices and spices like ginger, turmeric, we extract essential oils. And I know this is out of the scope of Spices Board of India, but we also do it for vegetables, leafy vegetables like spinach, coriander, fenugreek, etc. And that's about it. And anyone who's interested in buying in the products, may contact us. Thank you.
Thank you. Basu Kesar Company. Okay. Moving on, Salim Akhtar Mohammed.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and I would like to thank you so much for the Spices Board conducting such a great opportunity for us to explore such a big market like EU region. However, so far, like in our company, ICSE Agricultural Products are more supplying to China and other Asian Pacific countries. So far, like as after going ahead with this meeting, I did not get kind of information from you guys, especially like from India, what kind of especially in chilies, if we take in chilies, what kind of variety and what kind of variety of chili and what type of form it is going to Europe. So based on the data, like what is the quality requirement and what is the specific into detail, like that would be great, grateful for us to understand, and to make ourselves to ready and to export to EU region.
Okay, I'll take this question partly. India, as we know, is the largest exporter of chili and chili products to the world. And last year, around 6.75 lakh metric tons of chili and chili products we exported. And specific when in a nutshell, the supply capacity of India in chili ranges across the spectrum from the whole chili to minimal value addition, including powders or grinding, to higher end value addition, including oleoresins, paprika oleoresins, oils, and further to extraction of natural colors from chili. Now, with regard to the specific requirements of the French market, if any of the buyers from France who are on board here, if they can throw more in, give us more insights, we would really appreciate that. Okay. Now, and further, what we'll do is you can send me an email. Will drop my email here with your specific query. We have the Embassy of India Paris here who would be able to give us further commercial information on the various specifications of chili or rather the quality for the product specifications of chili. Thank you. Moving on, Mr. Vishal from Adicha Organic.
Yes, thank you. We are already exporting organic spices to France and the rest of the European Union. And last year in 2021, we decided with our importer in Denmark to start warehousing spices in Denmark. And that is something I would like to invite French customers who would like to source directly from India, or they can contact us and source from Denmark from within EU. These are all certified organic spices. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mr. Amrapal Singh.
Yes, thank you very much. I am from AS Agri and Eco LLP. We are in Thane. We have been involved in doing vertical farming, where we are producing high curcumin turmeric, which we keep a benchmarking of minimum 5%, and it goes up to 12% of the curcumin, which is a high value. Looking at this pandemic and all these things, people have become more health conscious, and high curcumin turmeric, it has been a good attraction by the people across the globe. We are setting up our brand as well, and which is we are running around 800 plus vertical farming projects all across India, including Jaipur, Rajasthan, UP, Uttarakhand, and Mumbai as well. So it has been a great achievement that we feel that, because in these days high immunity is a need of everybody. So vertical farming has really given us good hope that as compared to horizontal farming, that we are getting 100 crop yield in one acre of land. So that is what we are doing at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, Mr. Milan Shah. The next person is Ms. Parul Mehta.
Very good afternoon to everyone, and bonjour to French importers. We politely would like to introduce that I'm representing Elworld Organic, and our company is into organic products like organic spices, organic oil, complete range of the kitchen products, more than 140K SKU. We welcome your question and queries on the company website. And namaste from India.
Thank you. Mr. Balmurugan. Mr. Balmurugan.
Good evening. Good evening. We are from Aromas and Flavors International, Tamil Nadu. Thanks for your opportunity. We are into whole spices and ground spices manufacturing, as well as we are doing culinary paste manufacturing unit in Tamil Nadu. We can supply all type of culinary pastes like ginger paste, garlic paste, ginger garlic paste, red chili paste, green chili paste, as well as red jalapeno paste. This kind of paste we can manufacture and supply as per the EU standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Farooq Ahmad.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Please continue.
Myself is Farooq Ahmad from Kashmir. I am representing a cooperative, that's Unique Saffron Growers. We are a cooperative of farmers growing saffron in Kashmir, which is said to be the purest and high value saffron in the world. So we are dealing with saffron, and most recently we have introduced some saffron added products. And if anybody, my buyer, my business partner is interested, he can reach us. I have given my contact number and my email in chat box. So anybody is welcome. If anybody looking for pure saffron can reach us. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, Mr. Sethupathi.
Mr. Shah wasn't welcome again. Thank you.
Moving on, Mr. Bharat Gajjar.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, please carry on.
Yeah, sir, just we recently started our business as a BNB export, okay? Our around the farmers are growing up the various kind of spices. So do we have any platform where we can find all the foreign customers?
Yeah, Mr. Bharat,
Yeah.
you would be attending this platform through the SpiceXchangeIndia portal, which is
Yeah.
an initiative of Spices Board to help the exporters get in touch with the international buyers. Also, positively starting next year, the board will be participating in various international fairs. We used to participate in international fairs, which couldn't materialize in the last 2 years due to the COVID situation.
Yeah.
And the information with regard to the international fairs being attended by the board would be made available in the board's website once the calendar for every year is finalized.
Okay.
So that would be another option for the long run. For the time being, you can get in touch with the SpiceXchangeIndia team, who may drop a message in the chat box.
Yeah.
Which the SpiceXchangeIndia team would get in touch with you.
Okay, so all the abroad customers are available over there?
Yeah, the purpose of the platform is to get the exporters connected with the international buyers.
Okay, which platforms? Can you mention it once again? Because I didn't.
SpiceXchangeIndia, the same platform using.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Next person, Mr. Sharma Raju.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Raju Sharma from INPC Consulting, France. So I'm a business developer between France and India. So recently I'm looking I'm sourcing, in fact, the organic herbs, medicinal plants, gingers, turmerics, teas, and many more spices, which are used for the infusions, for example. And also I'm looking for the suppliers of gherkins and jalapenos from India in a huge quantity. So, I would like also to note that most of my clients are the suppliers for the BioCup or La Viclia, which are the organic retailers in France. So most of the demands are in the organic parts. So if anyone can support me, like providing all the products in organic, then I would be open to discuss.
Thank you, Mr. Raju. We have a lot of organic exporters who have joined us today, who are live with us now. So I'm sure that they have noted your interest, and you may also send send the same in the chat box. If not, you have already done.
I have already put on my contact details, and just to conclude with, I have around 70 different hubs.
No, further we will
demands.
be making available the event brochure to you through the Embassy of India, which would also capture the details of spice suppliers from India, including the organic suppliers. Thank you, Mr. Portuguese.
Can I ask a doubt?
Yeah. Yes, please.
I'm Kavita. Actually, we are a farmer. We grow organic turmeric, red banana, and ginger, sugarcane, and coconut. We have. Okay, we are from Tamil Nadu. Sometime before, someone was asking ginger and turmeric. We have turmeric, but it is in dried form. Okay, so is ginger and turmeric he needs in a dry form or in a fresh form?
Yeah. Generally, the exports of turmeric happens in dried form, and ginger, a small portion of it goes in fresh, which is primarily for the purpose of use as a vegetable. But majority of the export of ginger as a spice grows in dried or powdered or flakes, basically in dried form. Thank you. I think due to time constraints, we will have to limit the interaction, and I mean we will have to cut short the interaction at this stage. So on behalf of Spices Board, we would like to thank the Embassy of India Paris, the Honorable Ambassador, the respected Deputy Chief of Mission, and Mr. Mr. Dipanshu Purana, who has been the force behind making this program a reality. Indeed, we have been quite delighted to work with you, Dipanshu ji, and your keenness to have this program an effective one has actually resulted in a wide participation of both exporters from India, the French buyers, as well as various other key speakers in today's program. So before we wind up the program, I would like to request everyone to please switch on your videos so that we can have a screenshot and then close the program. Thank you. Okay, thank you all once again for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Hello, thank you.
Namaste and au revoir. À bientôt.
Thank you, everyone.
Anyone new to
Hello? Anyone here? Hello?
Yeah, please tell us.
Anybody interested in buying green chili, South Indian variety?
Hello.
Hello, anybody interested in buying South Indian green chili?
Bonjour, monsieur.
Do you supply red chili? Hello.
Anybody interested in?
Hello.